Hello, today's video we do here the episode 4. Now I'm aware I'm a bit late for this, as the episode came out in 2 or 3 days, depending on when I finish editing this, which is most likely because I haven't had pretty much zero time to record any audio for the past 2 weeks without having horrendous background noise, so yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully that situation seems to be solved and I should be able to record audio again, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, on to the video, which this video will be split up into multiple sections. First will be the thing that I like about this episode, the challenge, things I don't like about this episode, and the elimination, which is a different subject, so I'm gonna kind of go over it in its own little section. Anyways, on to the first section. There's a lot to like about this episode. I'm not really going to be going in necessarily chronological order, but I think I'll try to for the most part. First off, I like how Benji is actually doing important stuff this episode, even if it's not that much and doesn't really work out for him. This is a nice way to take Benji's character by making him try and be strategic but not having him be good at it. And even though he's probably my least favorite of the entire cast, he's still a pretty decent character and I'm excited to see what he does in the next episode, even if there's a good chance that he's probably getting through the next episode. I also like Zay's and Ivy's dynamic progresses this episode, as it's not a lot, but it's definitely something. It's nice to see, and I like how Tristan is actually involved in it overall. These two don't have too much to do this episode, but the moments we do get them are really cool, and I'm definitely excited to see what they do later down the line in the season. Also, I like how Ivy is handled this episode. Despite being nice, she is not the most strategic of the group and is catching on to what Jade and Spencer are up to. And it's a nice change to what I thought she was going to do in the season when the audition came out a few months ago. Now I'm starting to see what she does in episode 5. Even if that decision is mostly going to come back to bite her. So I really like how they took the direction of the voice lines, even if it was pretty short-lived. As all the 3 members, even though they didn't interact too much, had pretty good interaction and bounced off each other pretty well. Also, Lucas and Anastasia's dynamic this episode were really fun to watch. At first I thought these two were going to have a bit of a rivalry this season, but instead they were actually really nice to each other, as they have a competitive dynamic while also still being nice to each other. Overall, I'm not really sure where they're going to go in the future episodes, but whatever happens, I'm honestly here for it. Anyways, moving on to the challenge part of this episode. This challenge was really nice and it was pretty good, as it sparked some of the best dynamics that were in this episode, like Anastasia and Logan continuing their beef. Not beef, but competition. And Hannah and Diego, I'm just gonna say, these two definitely have the best dynamics I've seen in this episode. I like how they bounce off each other, and the scene with them with the hammer and stuff was honestly the best scene of the episode. I'm glad these two get a lot more to do together deeper into the season, because when these two interact, they are really fun to watch. Also, the scene with Linda pulling the fastball on Linda was absolutely hilarious, even if it was dumb. But Linda said earlier the Richard's daughter was completely uncalled for. If I was a richer person in the situation, I would absolutely do the same thing. Also, seeing Tristan during the show was nice to see, and the scene where Tristan pretends to be Di is absolutely fucking hilarious, even if it's a tiny bit princess corny. Overall, the show is really good and brings some of the best dynamics of this season to life. One of the real complaints that some of the Hunter dynamics should have been shown more. But the more interesting, we saw more of Natalia and Isabel interacting along with Jade and Ivy. If Ivy maybe getting sort of suspicious of Jade and confront her a bit during the shows, but that's only a minor complaint I have. And the animation quality of it is very well, as well as the backgrounds are really good. Which, speaking of that, I really like the animation this season. And the backgrounds are easily the best background the show has ever had. And the animation quality is a lot more vibrant that's alive than it was in All Stars, which is a really nice change of pace compared to how the show usually works. Also, the voice acting this season is really good. Overall, the positives of this episode all the way, and when I move on to the stuff in this episode that I'm not really a fan of, so I think it's just okay or mid. Their scenes are the only scenes in the season that I outright skip when I rewatch the episode because of how cringe-inducing they are. Now, their dynamic is being way too gross. Why does Diego already have a cross on Spencer when these two literally just met and barely interactive in any meaningful way? And they're doing way too much with it, as they seem to be tuning way away from the slow burn relationship building they did with other shows like Jade and Tom Jake. They seem to be rushing it, which is really hurting the ship dynamic. I'll probably go into more detail in another video, but to not repeat myself too much, the answer is being way too rushed to the point where the relationship feels really forced and not natural, unlike the other relationship in the show like Tom Jake and etc. Anyways, on to the second thing I don't like about this episode. That's the scene with Linda, where she set up a Richard star, which is like, why? I don't want to really elaborate on it too much because, like, you'll probably know why the scene is bad, and I don't want to say the obvious, but, like, why was this necessary? I feel like they could have handled Linda's and Richard's having a rivalry this episode a little bit better to make her say stuff like that. But anyways, let's just get on to the elimination part of this episode. This is the main thing I want to talk about. This elimination is... Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this elimination isn't even bad in the slightest, but geez, the host flashbacks are running rampant on this. Now, while I like Ted, I can admit this elimination absolutely makes sense when you look at it from a strategic perspective. But like, outside of the universe, why would they boot Ted this early? He generally has so much potential, could have honestly been a very strong, that's interesting villain. Now, I'm gonna say this elimination is terrible or bad, so that doesn't make sense, just because the person that I didn't want to get out got out. However, this elimination worries me a little bit. If this season keeps going down a similar path where All Nation cartoon spams eliminations as the main choice to be shocking and doesn't really have a good of a reason to happen outside of the universe like they did in All-Stars, then this season is probably not going to end up being too good, considering how bad All-Stars second half was. And luckily, we get to say that probably won't happen, and so far the writing for season 4's elimination has been pretty sharp. Outside of maybe Ameli's elimination, but even that's kind of debatable. And so far, this is the first elimination like this to happen, so I don't think we have to worry about this too much. So I do understand why this elimination happened character-wise, as it seemed to be pushing Logan forward. I do think it would have been stronger if they got Richard out here as Logan was closer with him, but I understand why they chose Ted. Overall, this elimination isn't bad, but definitely a little bit flawed. Anyways, over conclusion of this video / review. This episode is good. It definitely has the most flaws of any episode so far, but the good interaction and other factors definitely outweigh that part. If I had to rank this episode out of 10, it would probably be like an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. Anyways, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, comment, subscribing. Down below your thoughts on this episode. And this is TV Junkie signing off, leaving the day. Peace!